All right, here we go. The review for exam 3. Yay! Or boo. Exam 3 is by far the most difficult of the 3 tests. It has all the trigonometry and the nonlinear and the 3x3. That's a lot of hard crap all in one place. Now, if you notice, I started with number 4, which means your professor doesn't know how to count. I am going to do this review exactly the way that your test is. I'm going to do them in the same order. Question 5 and 6 on your test are 3x3 and the nonlinear. And so I want to do those problems dead last, just like you're going to do them on your exam. Okay, so without further ado, this is question 1 on your test. I give you one of the 6 trig ratios and you have to find the other 5. So you start off by drawing your right triangle, put theta, your angle. Tangent is, right, tangerines or apples. Opposite, adjacent. So remember, hype, op, adj. I put the angle at the bottom so that this would be the opposite. So opposite goes here. And hypotenuse, adjacent, hello. Tangent, OA. Opposite, adjacent. I'm looking for my C. So drawing a triangle and finding the side, right, you got to use the Pythagorean theorem. A squared, B squared, C squared. Be careful you don't do nothing dumbass like I just did. Right? This is what I get for not being really careful. Should have wrote that. So first step is to find the missing side. I'm given A and B. Now, I mean, I didn't call them A and B, but you can. It doesn't matter here which one is A and B. Just for convenience, well, I actually, according to my triangle, A is radical 5, so let me be consistent. The point is, I'm looking for my hypotenuse. I don't know what C is. When you do radical 5 times radical 5, you get radical 25, right? That's how you square the radical. You times it by itself, but that's just 5. So I get a 5 there. 2 times 2 is 4. Yay! Ooh, this came out so nice. 5 plus 4 is 9. So you get C equals, now it's supposed to be plus or minus, right? You take the square root. You got to put a plus or minus. You do this in other questions. But since we are talking about the side of a triangle, right, the length can't be negative. So you get C equals 3. So let me put my 3. I want to put it on the actual triangle because I'm about to read off all the values, right? So remember what I taught you to do. You're going to write sine, you're going to write cos, and you're going to write tan. I could have saved myself a few seconds of work by writing them. Next to them, you put the partners. This is important. Make sure the partner goes across from it. The partner of sine is cusc, cosecant. The partner of cosine is sec, secant. And the partner of tan is cotan. Remember, you don't do these 3. You just flip. I'm going to do these. I mean, I already have this one. Since they gave me tan, I get cotan for free. Flip it over. Boop. I don't care about the radical 5 in the bottom. Now I'm going to read off sine and cosine. Remember. So, right? Silly old hobo or whatever. Stupid old hag. Children are hyper or children are happy, whatever you like. So sine is opposite hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent hypotenuse. And now flip, flip. Very easy. To get cosecant, you flip over sine. To get secant, flip over the cosine, dude. Now remember what I said is very important. Number 1, they have to be in the right order. The partner must be across. This is how I want it. I don't want them all 6 up and down. And the radical stays on the bottom. Do not, under any circumstances, rationalize it. You can't keep the radical on the bottom. Yes, you can. Why can't you? Says who? You can have a radical on the bottom, and I want you to leave it there. Solvers don't do that because they don't know any better. They're programmed. All right, so you do it the way I'm showing you. That's it. It's not a difficult question. It's worth like 5 points. Okay, for question 5, I'm going to do A and B first. There's 3 of them on your test. And, again, I'm doing them in the order that they appear in the exam. For convenience, I just drew one triangle. I don't think I drew it for you on the exam paper itself, like I did on that one quiz. So, I'll just fill it in and then I'll erase it because I'll do all the work there. So, again, angle C is always the right angle. I like to put A on the bottom and B on the top, whatever. So here I told you the side B, which is down here, right? Side B is across from angle B. I told you side B is 9. I told you angle A is 71. And I'm looking for side C. So now if I'm down here at angle A, this is the adjacent side because it's touching A. This side here would be across from A. I don't know that. So of my choices, right, I have sine, cosine, tan. Since I have the hypotenuse, it can't be tan. It has to be sine or cosine. Since I have the adjacent side, I got to pick cosine. So my equation is going to be cosine 71 equals what? Adjacent side over the hypotenuse. That's the equation that I have to create to solve. Now I got to solve it for C, but I can't have that on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I play my little crisscross switching game. Trade places with them. The C comes up. The cos 71 goes down. And then what do? You whip out the calculator. Like you've seen me do in every single video, though this time I'm not going to hold it up to the screen. 9 divided by cos 71. I get 27.64. Again, button pressing. That's important. If you screw this up, if you put C over 9, wrong thing. If you do the crisscross wrong and you tell me that C equals 9 times cos 71, that's it. So how do I grade this? 1, 2, 3. I have to see them like this. First, you make the equation. Then you solve it for the letter you want and put the thing here that you're going to put in the calculator. And then you put the final answer. All right, now, the next one, let me do a little voodoo on the triangle. I'm looking for angle B, which is up there. I told you that side B is 8. Side B goes across from angle B. And side A goes across from angle A. But see, I'm looking for angle B. I don't have the hypotenuse, right? So sine and cosine are out. This must be tan. You don't have hype. I have op and adj. The question is, which one is which? And if you screw this up, and some people did, they put, op here and adj here. That's not true. According to angle B, this is op. And this is adj. So your opposite side is down at the bottom this time. So the tangent of angle B, put a B there. It's B. It's big B, right? Make my T better. Equals. So the tangent is the opposite side, which is 8. Over the adjacent side, which is 3. So again, 1 point for writing that down. Now I got to solve for angle B. How do you do that? Divide by tan. No, you don't. You can't divide by tan. You do the inverse tan. Remember, don't put an equal here. You put parentheses. This is not multiplication. This is a function. You're plugging in the number. You're getting the angle. So once again, whip out the calculator. I'm going to do inverse tan, 8/3. I got, 69. 69.44. I love it. Not the best choice. That wasn't on purpose. I'll make you this one promise. You will not get an answer that's 69 on your test. I guarantee you. There's nothing wrong with that number. It's a really good number. But anyway. So I got 69.44 degrees. That's rounded to 2 places. The next number here is a 3. So that's going to stay as a 4. All right, so again, 3 steps. You write the equation. You write what you would get to solve for the part that you need. This is what goes in the calculator, and then the final answer. It has to be written like that. I saw people do this question on the quiz, and they started here. How the fuck did you get that? Where did it come from? Magic? This is not where you start. If this is missing, right? If this part's missing, then there are going to be points missing. Real simple. Make sure for each of those you write all 3. Now, there's only one word problem on that test, and it's the angle of elevation one. So I'm going to do that next. Okay, the word problem. I didn't write the whole word problem. This was a pain in the ass. You're flying a kite using 65 feet of string. So that's your diagonal, right? A kite doesn't go straight up in the sky. Go fly a kite and you'll see. All right, it's always diagonal. And you know what? I have flown kites. The string will actually be pretty damn straight when the wind is really blowing. So that's why it actually makes a really nice hypotenuse. Now, so here's my kite. I mean, I can't draw to save my life. So here's the kite string. There's me. Now, they tell you that the angle of elevation with the ground is 71, which would be a lot steeper than what I drew, but whatever. And you're looking for how high off the ground the kite is. So the string itself, this is not the string. The string is, I'm holding the string there, and the kite's that way. So the string is 65. If you draw this wrong, if you think that the string is here, it doesn't make much sense. The kite doesn't go straight up. And how would you find how high off the ground it is? I mean, if it was 65 feet, it doesn't make sense. So the length of the string is 65. The angle of elevation that the kite forms with the ground is 71 degrees, and I'm looking for how high off the ground it is. So look, you have opposite, you have hypotenuse, you have an angle, and you have two sides. That's always, you're right, it's a right triangle. You always have, two sides and an angle. So that means that the sine of 71 is h over 65, right? The h is the height. This is an easy one move. Just bring him over. Leave the h where it is. You're going to take the 65. You're going to multiply it across, right? Multiplication, cross multiply. You're just not doing the whole crisscross. You're doing the criss, but not the cross. Multiply by 65. So remember, step 1, write the equation using the trig ratio. Step 2, write the thing that you plug into the calculator. Step 3 is to actually compute what you wrote. So I'm going to do 65 times sine 71. I have no idea what it is. Better not be 69 again. 61.4. Now, I got 61.458. I'm going to make it 46. I'm not going to have, again, not a physics class. I'm not going to have a heart attack if you round a little incorrectly. I'm not going to have a heart attack if you don't put 61 feet. I mean, you should. The unit of measure is, right? It's 61 feet off the ground, but whatever. Okay, so again, the picture. This one's worth a little bit more because you got to draw. This one you need to draw the triangle. The other two that I just did, 5A and B, you don't have to draw the triangle. You should. It's helpful. But, this one, the drawing itself is worth a point. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 points. Right? So you must include everything that I did. Do it the same way. Right? Don't skip any of the work that I showed there. All right, question 6. I give you non-right triangle. And then I give you 2 angles and ask you for a side. Instantly, this isn't a law of cosines. That ain't gonna work. So if I give you 2 angles and a side, and you're looking for a side, law of sines. Now I gotta be smart about it. I'm gonna look at everything I have. I have to start writing stuff down. I know that I'm looking for side C. Right? I mean, I'm looking for side C. So how do you not pick this one? I mean, you got to pick C over sine C. Now I need one more. I'm either going to put A over sine A or B over sine B. So now I'm going to look at what I was given. I wasn't given side A, and there's no way for me to compute it. But I was given side B, and I was also given angle B. Yay, now I can plug in. Well, not quite. I don't see angle C. I need this. I need angle C, and I wasn't given that angle. So unfortunately, I got to do a little bit of side work here. I know that all three angles make 180. So I have to figure out C by taking 180 and subtracting angle A and B. That's going to tell me what angle C is. Listen, you have to do this. You want to do it in your head, do it in your head, but I wouldn't. I would do it on the calculator. So I got 45. Ooh, and a nice angle. So angle C is 45 degrees. Now I have enough. I know side B and I know angle B. Now I know angle C because I just computed it on the side based on what A and B were. If you put 38 here, this is not 38. This angle A is 38. You would get this wrong, all right? So I'm looking for side C. Angle C, I did my quick computation on the side. I got 45. Side B, I was told, is 19. Angle B, I was told, is 97. Now, again, you don't have a choice. You have to do the full cross multiplication here. You have to do the full crisscross. So do it. Sine 97 is going to hook up with the C. Sine 45 is going to hook up with the 19. So I'm going to put C times sine 97, right? Do the full cross multiply here. 19 times sine 45. You do the crisscross, the full crisscross. Now, I need C alone. He needs to be by himself. So I'm going to divide the sine 97 away and put it underneath here. Boop, boop, cross them out. Now, this is a lot to compute. And again, I told you how I like to do this. I will do 19 times sine 45. And I'll get that number, right? I got 13.435, blah, 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 whatever. Again, I'll go back to my thing. I like to compute the top first. I get that number. And then I hit divided by. And then I put sine 97. So I got 13.535. So I'm going to round that, right? If the decimal is 535, I'm going to make it 54. I'm not going to mark you wrong if you put 13.53. I don't really give a damn about that one decimal place, but I said to round it to 2 places. So there you go. Again, there's quite a bit here. You got to really think carefully. You got to make sure you pick the right 2 fractions, the two correct ratios to make your proportion. I needed a piece of information that I wasn't given, so I had to find that angle. I plugged in everything I know now. I did my little crisscross, and then I solved. All right, it's not that difficult, but you have to be very careful with what you're doing and make sure everything is in the right place. All right, 7. It's the last one. It's not the last one. It's the last of the trigonometry. I have to go back and do 1, 2, and 3. So, but again, I did this in the order of your test. So I gave you 3 sides, and I asked you for angle C. You said, but you said B and C. And then I said in class, forget about B. I'm going to make you find the largest angle because I know for a fact that angle will be greater than 90. That angle will be in quad 2. This is exactly how I want the problem to come out. If you see that I gave you 3 sides, you could not use the law of sines even if you wanted to. You're welcome to try. What the hell are you going to plug in for the angles? You need at least 1 or 2 angles to do the law of sines. But the law of cosines, so it's going to be cosine C. Let's see what I remember. You pick the other 2 letters, which are A and B, and then you put those on the bottom with the 2. You don't have to do this because you'll have the class notes with the formula. And then you subtract the C squared, the baby C, the side C, right? That's angle C, that's side C. That's, I'm looking for the angle, so I have to pick cos C. Like I said, if you were on campus, you would be memorizing this, but if you have the notes, you have the formula. There's nothing to memorize. Now you just got to plug in. Just be really careful about it. Cosine of angle C is A is 15. That's pretty big. 9. And then you're taking away 19, which is very big. That's going to end up making that negative. And then on the bottom, you have 2 times 15 times 9. So rather than embarrass myself, I know this is 225. I know this is 81. I don't know what the hell 19 squared is off the top of my head. Is it 3 something? 379? 389? I don't know. So I'm going to get 225 plus 81 minus 19 times 19. Oh, 361. All right. And let's see. 30 times 9, 270. I make sure. Half the time I do it wrong. So cosine C, again, this is all in the calculator, man. I ain't doing this shit without this. I couldn't do it even if I wanted to. I mean, I could use some of the computations with it. My plus button likes to stick on me. So I should get a negative on top, and I do. I get negative 55. This is perfect. As soon as I see that the value of cosine is negative, I know that angle is not in the first quadrant. Therefore, I know my angle is not between 0 and 90. I know this angle must be between 90 and 180. Obviously, it can't be 180 because the whole triangle is 180. So I know it's going to be more than 90 though. So if I want angle C, I have to do the opposite of cosine, which is the inverse cosine. Make sure you put that negative there. If you're missing that negative, you ain't going to get the right angle. That's for damn sure. So I'm going to hit second cosine. I'm going to hit my minus symbol. You do not press the subtraction symbol. It will mark it. It's not going to understand that. So I have to put the negative for the 55 and then divide by 270. And I get, well, there you go, 101. Angle C equals, I get 101.753, so I can put 75. 101.75. Again, round to two places. 101. It's in quad 2. Get a negative, the angle is going to be in quad 2. Guarantee you the one of your tests is like that. It's set up that way. You'll be looking for the largest angle. How do I know it's the largest? Look at the three sides. The biggest side will always have the biggest angle. So, and the angle is in quad 2. It's larger than 90. All right, again, not that difficult to do. Be real careful. Really, real careful. Make sure you plug in right. Make sure you compute correct. Do this all in your damn calculator so you don't do it wrong. Okay? That's the end of the trig. Now I got to go back and do number 1. Oh boy. I hate that problem so long. All right, the 3x3. Ugh. Time consuming. So take a quick look. On the test, it's going to tell you to eliminate z. Well, assuming it's z. It might tell you to eliminate x or y, but in this case, it's a pretty clear choice to eliminate z. The numbers in front of x are no good. The numbers in front of y are no good. So again, if your test says hint eliminate z, please eliminate z. Don't try to do nothing crazy, all right? So I'm going to take the top one and the middle one. I'm going to multiply all the ones in the top by 2. I'm going to erase that in a minute. Everything gets doubled. Times it all by a positive 2. I want a plus 2 to go with the minus 2. So 3 times 2 is 6x. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. This is where you got to be super careful. Plus 2z equals, and then 2 times negative 13. Right? Multiply everything by 2. Now I'm going to add that to the middle one. Remember, this question is going to tell you to solve by elimination by addition. I am not allowing you to subtract. You must make them opposite so you can add them up and they cross out. That's exactly what happens here. These go away. So 6x and 4x makes 10x. Don't do nothing stupid. Put 10x squared here. Be very careful. Very careful. Negative 4 plus 3. You owe me 4 and you pay me 3. You still owe me 1. You don't have to put the 1, but I'm putting it. Equal sign, bigger equal sign. Negative 26 plus 13 is negative 13. This is new equation number 1. And I'll tell you, a lot of you have been making the equal sign, but I notice it makes a big deal. I smile every time I see the bigger equal sign. Some of you make it really big, but as long as you make it a little bit bigger, you're doing the math right. All right, so now we have to eliminate one more time. I need new equation number 2. So this time, remember, what I want in front of this z is a negative 3 so that I can add them up and cross out. All right, and I'm going to make it 3 and subtract. There are people who do it, and I mark it wrong. I will mark it wrong. Your equation is going to have the opposite signs that I have because you didn't do the right thing. And if it tells you to eliminate by addition, and I see you subtract, I'm going to take a point off. So don't do that. I have to multiply everybody here by negative 3. This time I'm doing red just to be real careful. Okay? So again, multiply careful. 3 times 3. Oh my God. So negative 3. So many people put 6. I saw people do this. This is death. This is the end of just one silly little space out. That's all it takes. You fuck up one thing, the whole problem is ruined. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. A negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. That's exactly what I wanted there. And then negative 3 times 13. That's 39. Negative and negative is positive. So I get a positive 39. Then you're going to take the equation on the bottom. I mean, there's a lot to this question. And this is just the beginning. So I'm going to write the whole bottom. Be very careful. Make sure you copy them right. Always double check after you copy it, right? Make sure that you wrote it all correctly. And make sure you multiplied correctly. All right? I did. I'm good. Remember, this is new equation 2 I'm working on. So now add straight up and down. Negative 9 and negative 2 is negative 11. Uh-oh. 6y and 5y is positive 11. Ooh, interesting. Cross them out. right? Negative 3z and positive 3z. Equal sign, bigger equal sign. Yeah, you need to make it bigger anyway because that's not there anymore. 39 and 5 make 44. Now, you stop there. This is fine. This isn't going to happen on your test. It happened on this review, but I avoid this on the test because I know people forget and people won't do it. Every one of those numbers is divisible by 11. You have 11, 11, and 44. So I don't know why you wouldn't do this and take it out, right? Divide it all by 11 and look at how nice what you get is. I want you to do that. Now, if you didn't do that, this is fine. Then you're going to be like, but I didn't do it that way. I want you to do it that way. Fuck that. I'm not doing it that way. I'm going to do it the easier way. If you didn't divide by 11, you're just going to have much bigger numbers than me. You know, you're going to end up multiplying this by a positive 11, right? You're going to want to cross out y. You don't want to eliminate x here, right? You have a negative 11 and a 10. You'd be really stupid to do that. You have a negative y already, but look at what happens if I just cross out the 11s. You have a positive y and a negative y. Y is just screaming for you to eliminate. So dividing by 11 saves you tremendous work. You don't want to do it, don't do it. But I sure as hell am not going to do the problem right now with the 11s in it. So I'm going to erase this and neaten it up so I can finish the problem off. Poof, you didn't even know I was gone. So, you know, new equation 1, new equation 2. I divided new equation 2 by 11. And look at how easy this is. I mean, pow. Just add them up the way they are and you cross out the y's. 10x take away 1x is 9x. Equal sign, bigger equal sign. Negative, be careful, negative 13 plus 4 is negative 9. So that's going to give me, oh, Jesus, I can't believe I just did that. Divide by 9. So that happens when I talk sometimes at the same time. Divide both sides by 9, and you get x equal negative 1. I wrote x there because I was about to write x equal negative 1. See, my brain got ahead of me. So I got x equal negative 1. Now, you have a choice of where to plug it. You can plug it here or here. Who cares? I mean, does it really matter where you plug it into? I'll plug it into the bottom one. Actually, you know what? I'll do both just to show you. Plugging into the bottom one. Negative and a negative is a positive. Right? And there you go. You get y equal 3. What if you use the top one? I'll use the top one. Right? Replace the x with a negative 1. The y is negative there. You're not going to get the same thing. Yes, you will. No, you're not. Multiply by negative 1. Now add the 10. Right? Cross those out. You get negative y equals, now negative 13 plus 10 is negative 3. Divide both sides by negative 1 and you get y equals 3. Yay! No matter which one you pick, you have to get the correct number. You don't have to get the correct number. I'm saying you're going to get the same number whether you pick the top or the bottom. You're looking for the intersection of two lines, so of course it's on both. So now, man, I got it. I got 2 of my 3 numbers. I just need the z. Always pick the one with the 1. The top one. If you're going to solve for z, don't pick the middle one. Don't pick the bottom one. Pick the friggin' top one. Use the middle one and the bottom one to make sure your 3 answers are cool. And please, for all the points this is worth, you should check. So I got 3x minus 2y plus 1z equals negative 13. That's the one I want to use to solve for z. So I'm going to put the negative 1 where the x is. I'm going to put the 3 where the y is. And then I'm going to just bang it out and see what it is. That's negative 3. That's negative 6. Altogether, that's negative 9. I mean, I got it. It's over. This is housekeeping. Just keep track of everything real carefully. Negative 3, negative 6, that's negative 9. I'm going to add 9. The opposite of subtracting 9 is adding 9. Those cross out. So now I get z. Negative 13 plus 9 is negative 4. Yay! So I got x is negative 1, y is 3, z is negative 4. So instead of my boring usual 1, 2, 3 combination, I did 1, 3, 4. But it's not 1, 3, 4. It's 1, 3, 4. I know 2 of the numbers are negative. Now, just to be sure, Here you can see how I do this very half-assed. You don't have to do it as half-assed as I'm doing it, but I'm going to do it this way. 4 times -1 is -4. 3 times 3 is 9. -2 times -4 is +8. I just got to make sure this comes out to 13. I got 17, take away 4, right? 9 and 8 make 17. 17 minus 4 is 13. Checks out. Middle one is good. See how half-assed I'm checking it, but I'm making fucking short. -2 times -1, right? X is -1. So -2 times -1 is 2. 5 times 3 is 15. And then at the end, I have 3 times -4, right? Z is -4. That's -12. I got to hope that this comes out to 5. 2 plus 15 is 17. 17 minus 12 is 5. Yay, it worked. Take those couple of seconds to friggin' check it. You can do it a little more in depth than I did it. That's a half-ass check, if anything. But I make sure I got the right damn number in the middle one and the bottom one. Now I know for sure the answer is -1, 3, -4. So take the couple seconds to check. Trust me, it's worth it. You will catch a mistake if you made one. You'll catch it there. All right. All right. The classic elimination nonlinear system. I am leaning toward removing this, but in case I leave it on your test, I need to make sure that I do it. Now, you have x squared, y squared, x squared, y squared. So certainly substitution ain't happening here. So you definitely want to do some type of elimination. You could definitely eliminate y, but I think it's easier to eliminate the x squared. So I'm going to times all these by 2. All right, take the bottom one and times everything by 2. So basically just put a 2 in front of them all. Although that one you actually have to multiply it. And then take the one on top and then add them together. Right? Add straight up and down. That's what we always do addition. Do elimination by addition. These cross out. You have 2x squareds, take away 2x squareds. You have 2y squareds and 3y squareds is 5y squareds. Don't be like my remedial class and tell me y to the 4th. Equal sign, bigger equal sign. 14 and 6 make 20. Now you're going to divide by 5. This problem's not bad at all. You get y squared. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Now, here's where you got to be super careful. When you're doing the problems with the triangle, when you do the Pythagorean theorem, you don't put the plus minus because you're looking for the side of a triangle, so there's no negative. But here, you got to make sure you put plus minus radical 4, right? What's the opposite of square? Square root. So you get y equals plus or minus 2. So in other words, you have y equals 2 and y equals -2. And yes, unfortunately, you have to plug them in one at a time. Where? I don't know. It doesn't matter which one you plug it into. You can plug it into the top or the bottom. I want to avoid that negative. I think I'm going to go with the top. I'm going to put 2x squared, right? So I have y equals 2 and I have y equals -2. And I'll point out that you get the same damn number when you do that. I'll show you. I'll put -2 there. You actually don't have to do this twice. And here's why. When you square it, when you square -2, you get 4. And when you square 2, you get 4. So it doesn't really matter which one you pick. You're going to get the same number. So -2 times -2 is +4. 2 times 2 is +4. The same damn thing. So you get a 12 there. So you have to subtract that, right? You have a plus 12. So you have to minus 12 to both sides. Cross that out. You get 2x squared equals 14. Take away 12 is 2. Now I have to divide by the 2, right? You got to get x squared alone. So you get x squared equals 2. What's 2 divided by 2? 2 divided by 2 is 1. It's 0. It's not 0. It's 1. Now you got to take the square root. What's the square root of 1? I don't know the square root of 1. It's 1. What number times itself is 1? 1. So regardless of which one you pick, you're going to get plus or minus 1. So when you plugged in y equals 2, now you got to be very careful here. When you plugged in y equals 2, I got x is 1, and I got x is -1. When I plugged in y is -2, I got x is 1, and I got x is -1. There's all 4. So x is either plus or minus 1. It's either plus 1 or minus 1. And then y is either plus 2 or minus 2. These are the 4 combinations of what you could get. And those are the only 4 answers you could get. But it's still a pain in the ass. You get 4 answers. So those graphs One of them, I think one of them is an ellipse and one of them is like a hyperbola. But whatever the fuck those graphs are, they hit 4 times. Those are the 4 places where they hit. There's a lot of symmetry there. Remember, this question may not, I may take this question off. And if I do, well, then you have a little bit of an easier time. All right, now I'm going to do the last one, the worst one. All right, number 3B. Last one was 2B. I don't think I specified. I think I just said number 2. This is the very last question on your test, and there's a reason, because it is the mother of all questions. It's the hardest one. By far, it is the most difficult and complicated question on that whole test. So you have to be very, very careful with it. You cannot do this by elimination because you have x2 and x. You have y2 and you have y. You must do it by substitution. Now, the hint will tell you to solve for y. You would be a fool to try to solve for x. So I am going to solve for y. I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. And, or excuse me, 2x, hello. 2x, and I just said y. So you get y equals 1 minus 2x. Get a point just for doing that. Now, I'm going to put that up there. Wherever I see y. First, look, do this. Write that down. Put a big ass parentheses where the y was. And over here where the y was, there was a y there. Now there's not a y there. Now I'm going to put 1 minus 2x there. It helps. Do that. Now I have to square that. Remember, don't try to reverse this. This time you will totally screw up the problem if you do it. Don't reverse this. Don't put 2x minus 1 because it's not. 2x minus 1 is not the same as that. If you want to put negative 2x plus 1, but don't do that either. Don't do that. All right. On the side, just do 1 minus 2x, 1 minus 2x, right? When you square something, you times it by itself. So you write it twice, and now you do your FOIL. 1 times 1 is 1. In the middle, you get negative 2x. On the end, you get negative 2x. That's negative 4x. And then when you multiply the last, right, first, outer, inner, last, you do your FOIL. Negative 2x and negative 2x is positive, right? Negative 2 and negative 2 is positive 4. And then x and x is x squared. I would recommend to you that when you take this and put it here, that you do put it in the order of x squared, x, and the number, right? x2, x1, none. I'm going to write it in that order. You may not like it. You may not understand why I'm doing that, but I'm doing that because I want to have the like term. I want to have this in the correct order. So this is positive 4x squared, positive 4x squared. That's a negative 4x, negative 4x. This is a positive 1. You don't have to reverse it the way that I am. I am doing it for convenience. You will understand why I did it in the next step. But I like to keep it in that order. You like to have it x squared, x the number, because you need it like that to factor anyway. Now, this is the whole problem. This is the whole fucking question. If you kill this step, the problem is going to be wrong. So you have to be very, very careful with this step. And I'm going to do it in red. This negative, right? There's an invisible negative 1 in front of this parentheses. It has to be distributed to all 3 of these things, meaning that every one of them is going to switch to the opposite. This will be negative plus negative. You must switch them all. This negative sign has to hit all 3. That's why this problem is very, very dangerous, because people fuck up and they put this negative sign here and they don't put it there and they don't put it there. And it will kill the whole question. I'm telling you, the rest of it will be wrong. You'll get something that doesn't factor and you won't know what your mistake is. So be super careful. You cannot put this negative in here, right? If you start trying to distribute that negative in the beginning, it's over. You can't hop the fence with the power on. So first you do the power, then you distribute that negative. Now watch how careful I'm going to be. I'm taking away 4x squared. A minus and a minus make a plus. This is real important. And then a minus and a plus, I switched. Switch, switch, switch. Very careful. Equal 15. I think you understand. If you kept that negative here, and if you kept this a plus 1, right, your next step is going to be to take the 15 away. If this is the wrong sign, if this is a plus 1, you ain't going to have the right freaking number there. And if you make this negative 4, you ain't gonna factor it right because you're going to have the wrong sign. So you have to be really careful. Now, 6x2, take away 4x2 is 2x2, right? Then I have plus 4x. So what did I do? All I did is combine like terms. 6x squared, take away 4x squared, right? I just combined them into one. 6 minus 4 is 2. Now, at the same time, I'm going to subtract that 15 over. Why? You need to factor. No quadratic form, even if you use a quadratic formula, it still has to be equal to 0. I need this equal to 0. I'm going to factor it. So I want to set it equal to 0. So I cannot have that 15 there. I got to do the opposite of that, which is subtract 15. That's going to put me my 0 there. So now I'm going to do -1, take away 15, which is -16. And again, if you had the wrong sign here, if you kept that as +1, then you're going to get the wrong number here. You're also going to have the wrong number here. You're going to have a -4 instead of a +4. It is critical you switch all those signs. I hope I'm making this crystal fucking clear. I'm saying it again and again and again. You must switch those signs. They all switch, or the whole problem is going to be wrong. Now, 2, 4, 16. Well, -16. They're all divisible by 2. Remember, you don't factor with a 2 here. That's by design. Now, in a test, I know I made it nicer for you. If I wanted to make this question really, really perfect, I would have put a 5 here. Why? Because then you do 5x squared, take away 4x squared. I would have had a 1x squared. You wouldn't have had to divide everything by 2. It's just that this one is a more complicated version of it. The one on the test will be easier because I'll put a 5 here. And so you'll just get 1x squared. And then it'll factor. You'll just subtract the number over and it'll factor. You won't have to divide by 2 like I'm doing here. So divide everything by 2. So I'm giving you the secret of the test. So you get x squared plus 2x, right? Take away 8. You will not have this correct if you messed up your signs here. You won't have it right. You'll get there and then you'll be like, fuck it, don't factor. And then you're totally screwed. What do you do? Because then you're going to start looking back and say, shit, I made a mistake somewhere. You will not be able to find that error. That error will be right here. And I know it'll be there. And I know this is going to happen to people on the test. They're going to tell me in the chat, it doesn't factor. And, again, unfortunately, you can't come up to the front of the room and show me the test. And then I would say, boop, I'd point. I'd go like this. That's supposed to switch. And then he would be like, oh, shit, you go switch it. So got to be real careful here. All right, so I get x and x. Two numbers who multiply to 8 and make a 2. It can only be 4 and 2. +4 take away 2 is +2. 4 times -2 is -8. So I know that the signs work. So I get x equal -4, and I get x equal 2. And you're like, yay, I'm all done. Well, not quite. You're almost done. But I want to point out again, if you didn't switch this sign, right? If you had -4x, you'd have a negative there. You'd have a negative there. You would end up putting -4 plus, right? You'd factor wrong. You might have the 8 there, and you think that it factors, but then you would put -4 and +2. These numbers would be reversed. And if those signs are wrong, obviously, if you have x wrong, you're going to get y wrong. So look, there it is. I don't need this anymore. I did that already. So I know that y equals 1 minus 2x. So I want you to be very smart and organized and neat. First, you're going to plug in x is -4. Then you're going to plug in x is 2. And I want you to do it very carefully, one at a time. First, you're going to replace the x with a -4. Wherever the x is, you put -4. So you get 1. -2 times -4 is positive, right? Negative times negative is plus. 2 times 4 is 8. So you get y equals 9. So the first point where these graphs meet, when x is -4, y is 9. Now when x is 2, replace the x with a 2. Multiply it out, right? 1 minus 2 times 2 is 4. So you get y equals -3. So the second place where those graphs would meet would be there. I want this, please. Tell me the point where they meet. That's what I'm asking you. I'm basically asking you to find me the points where the graphs touch without graphing them. The bottom one is a line. The top one is some weird ass hyperbola. It's kind of slanted. You don't got to worry about what the fuck these graphs look like. You don't care what they look like. You ain't graphing them. You're doing them algebraically, right? So you solve for y, plug it in, multiply it out. Switch your signs. Switch, switch, switch. Set it equal to 0, divide, combine, right? Divide everything by 2 so that you can factor. Get those two x's, plug them in and get the y's. So that's a long, difficult question. You don't quite get through it, don't worry about it. You're going to get a huge chunk of points as long as you write something down, all right? So it's the hardest one. You tank that question, don't feel bad, all right? You already did. That's why this question is last. The rest of the test is already done. And then you're doing this one. So if you screw it up, who cares? You got most of the points anyway and everything else. All right. So as I do with every one of these, I wish you guys good luck. Please watch this video carefully. If it's not in this video, it's not on that test. Hell, even that question that I just did might not be on the test. I might even chop off question 2. All right. So just please make sure you know how to do what I showed you. You should be just fine. All right. Do not come to that test unprepared. You will tank it. You won't just fail it. You'll tank it. Cannot afford to tank the third test going into the final. All right. So good luck, everybody.